Good morning, everyone, or good whatever time it is wherever you are. Here now, it is 8:30 a.m. where I am. Glad you could join me. I'm going to give people a chance to come on in, and so I'm going to really get started at the 3 minute 30-second mark. So if you're watching this on replay, feel free to jump to that point. Today is Thursday, and I like Thursdays. I mean, I like most days really, but I like Thursdays. There's something about a little bit of positive expectation in a Thursday. You know what I mean? You sort of have this sense of, yeah, what's coming up? I worked a corporate job for a long time, so the whole uh, 5 day week plus weekend thing, still a little bit in my head. And Thursday is that day where you're sort of thinking, okay, got today and one more day, and then I have lots of time off. I have a weekend, and so that can feel pretty good if that's your situation. I haven't been in that situation for a few years now. Several, well, 8 years now. Oh my gosh, has it been that long? So it's faded for me, right? I don't really, one day isn't that different from another day to me. And sometimes I actually forget what day it is. But it's good to have a schedule because then you can look forward to something. And if you have something to look forward to this weekend, you can think about that now on a Thursday and start to feel pretty good about that, right? Because that's something you can look forward to. It's kind of wild how that works. If you if you have something to look forward to, no matter how big or small it is, you feel better about things. I read this thing about I've been doing this for years, but I read this thing about Japanese people will do this thing sometimes where they'll just look forward to one thing in the morning. And for me, it was drinking my morning matcha. Matcha is a special kind of green tea that they grind up the leaves. You don't steep it. You grind up the leaves and eat the leaves, and they're grown in shade, so they have more chlorophyll. And the reason I like it so much is that I don't get the spike and crash I could get from coffee. It's much more smooth, and I look forward to that. And when I started thinking, you know what, I'd go to bed and I'd be like, hey, you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my matcha. Isn't that going to be great? And that's it. And then I go to bed. And I found out that that makes a difference. So you can use that principle in your own life. But right now, since it's Thursday, some of you might be able to look forward to some time you can spend this weekend on something you enjoy. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels good to me. So let's make everything a little bit better. All right. So we're coming up on the 3:30 mark. So let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Andrews, and I'm a hypnotist, which is pretty cool because that means I know how to change things on the inside to make things better. And if you're here, that means you probably like it when things get better. You like it when you get better. And that's what I'm here for, too. Today, I want to talk about thought laundering. And while I talk about it, I'll be doing some work under the hood, rewiring your brain in real time. Now, if you're watching this, you've probably had some other things already going on today. So the first thing we're going to do is take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and then let it all go. Ready? Breathe in, hold it, and now just let it all go. Good. And the next thing we're going to do is just gather up all the thoughts going on, all the places where your thoughts have been, and we're just going to bring it all in so we can focus in. Now, today, I want to talk about thought laundering. And what I mean by that is, I mean when the subconscious has adopted or accepted something that it thinks is true, and yet the conscious mind still objects to it. Okay, that subconscious thought has to be expressed somehow, right? It will always find some form of expression. So now there's a lot. I mean, if you know even your basic Freudian psychology, although from what I've read lately, Freud was a fraud and he took all this from other people. But the idea is that if the subconscious mind has something that it cannot express properly, it will project that onto other people. Right? I'm not crying, you're crying. Right? It's that kind of phenomenon. Now, this is a big deal because it's something you can use as a filter a lot of times. Now, it's not always true. Sometimes the person's accurate in their response, in their maybe accusation, I guess. But a lot of times they're not. They've got something on the inside of themselves that they don't like, and they're projecting it onto somebody else so that they can pretend that it's not them that has the thing they don't like, it's somebody else. Right? So projection. And then you've also got denial, which is a form of, that's sort of how projection that's why projection sometimes has to happen. Denial is when there's something you don't like about yourself and you pretend that it's not true. Right. Now, I say something about yourself instead of something that exists because the way to get out of denial is to accept yourself, not to accept your situation. That's one of my insights that I've discovered about the human mind. You don't have to accept the world. You have to accept yourself, and the world will reorganize itself appropriately for you. I'll get into that another day. So, what are we going to talk about? So, the thought laundering is when a subconscious thought is made palatable or acceptable to the conscious mind. And now, what we've seen lately, and others, I'm gonna pick on the left here today because um, I think there's more denial on the left than there is on the right politically. I think the left is more in denial. Now, just about every human is in denial about something, but I think the left has it worse. And so I'm gonna show you some examples of what I'm talking about. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna share my screen here on the presentation tool. Let's see if I can get this to work. Yeah, it did work. All right, let me make this bigger so you can see. Is that big enough? That should be big enough. All right. Now, I've been tracking this for a while now, and I brought a few of my tweets up, a few of my posts on X up to illustrate this principle. Now, look, this person here, Defiant Els, is quoting someone named Jebra Fauché. Okay, and saying, now that woman, Jebra, I think it's a woman, Jebra Fauché says, if we took all the MAGA men from ages 15 to 50 and replaced them with immigrants, violence against women and children would decrease to almost 0%. All right, now there's some things we know about this. Number one, this is very inaccurate. It's wildly inaccurate. It's so inaccurate that it's almost absurd. Okay, there's far more crime committed by illegal immigrants and other demographic groups. I don't want to YouTube's probably already going to ban me for saying that, even though it's objectively true, than men on the right politically. It's very, very low crime rates. Now, but why is she saying this? Because this is a projection, right? It's a little bit different form. Instead of saying, I don't have the problem, you have the problem, it's They don't have the problem because I like them. You have the problem because I don't like you. Right? Do you understand how this is working? Now, why did she pick violence? Because she knows at the subconscious level that that's a problem and she knows who's really doing it. And so she's trying to rearrange the blame, right? Make sense? Let's go to another example here. This cracks me up. this this House of Representatives, uh, this representative here, um, she's riling up. She's on the left. She's a Democrat, and she's riling up her people in a speech. And she says, "Here we have to f Trump." And see right there, that's I'm not going to play the sound again because of the YouTube, but this is obviously what has been colloquially known as a Freudian slip, right? Now she has already recognized that Donald Trump is a badass alpha male who gets what he wants, and that bugs her so much. Right now, she wants to be hostile, but she finds herself talking about it in terms of sexual conquest, right? Okay, her subconscious mind is trying to launder that thought, but she can't accept it. No, Trump's evil. Trump's bad. He's not some, strong, powerful person. And this is the format that it comes out in. Now you do one more. This was from today. I thought this was probably the funniest. This was a good one. So they're interviewing this. Is that too small? They're interviewing this anti-ICE activist in Minneapolis, and they have set up roadblocks in in Minneapolis to keep ICE out. And she says, she says, "We are literally creating a place that we know who's coming and going in and out of our neighborhoods." Okay. She is creating borders. They're creating their own border and trying to keep people out that they don't want in. Meanwhile, she's protesting that exact same thing being done at another level. So she has already accepted the idea at the subconscious level. Okay, we need boundaries. We need borders. We need to police who comes in and out. And yet she can't handle that consciously. And so it comes out in another direction, right? She's doing it and then pretending that it's okay the way she's doing it, but not the way that ICE is doing it. Okay, and I think by now you probably get the overall idea of this, right? Now I'm using I'm using I'm using examples on the left because I like to do that. But you don't. I mean, you can see this everywhere, right? You can see this everywhere. Now, when you think about it, wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to do those things, right? Wouldn't it save you potential embarrassment, denial, chagrin, maybe? If you didn't think that way, if you didn't have that problem, well, there's some ways to get out of that. Now, for those of you who followed Scott Adams for a long time, he used the term cognitive dissonance, right? Cognitive dissonance. There's no number of different terms about it to describe it that are slightly different, but there's cognitive dissonance. There's psychological reversal. There's denial. There's a bunch of different descriptors that come at it from a slightly different angle. But the idea is there's something that you don't like, that seems like a threat to you or your identity. right? And that's when denial starts. It's like la 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 la, not happening, not happening. That's what it is, except on a subconscious level. But there's ways out of this, and I learned one of this way out of it from Gary Craig, who he has been working on something called EFT for decades, right? And this works. And some people say, well, you have to accept your situation. As I said before earlier today, you don't. You don't. You have to accept yourself, even though something's happening, right? So it's really that simple. Instead of saying, okay, well, I'll give you an example for one of those examples, right? That I showed. If that one woman had just said, even though borders are necessary and boundaries are necessary, I'm still okay. Then she could accept that, and that doesn't have to launder. That works to bring in the thought and integrate that thought, which ends up usually not being anywhere near as bad as it seemed before. Right? Once you actually integrate it, it seems to not be so much of a problem. But even though that thing exists, or even though that's happening, or even though I have this trait, or even though this something that I don't like, even though that's happening, I'm still okay. Then the ego defense mechanism calms down, right? You can feel it happening. Like your ego defense mechanism calms down because you realize, okay, I'm still okay. Whether it's this or that, I'm okay. Then it can be allowed to happen. It can be allowed to exist mentally on the inside, because it probably exists on the outside, regardless of whether you accept it or not. But on the inside, your mind can allow it to exist. Just allow it and realize, even though this exists, I'm still okay. I'm still okay. And you can sometimes even feel your nervous system de escalate from a kind of threat feeling to a, okay, we're okay. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be smiling and happy about it, because sometimes it's things that are not pleasant. But once you accept them, they lose power over you, because it seems to allow your will, your intention, your conscious mind to affect the situation more. If it's in denial, if it's in psychological reversal, if it's in cognitive dissonance, you can't really do much about it with those parts of your mind that can really change things. But once you accept it yourself, even though it exists, then you can start to change it and affect it. And I think you might discover that that is true in your own life when you do that as needed, right? I mean, it seems pretty useful, doesn't it? To me, it seems pretty useful. I don't know how much you're going to find that useful and helpful. I'm going to let you figure that out for yourself. I'm going to let you discover that for yourself as you use it, as you use this idea. But you can certainly tell me in the comments or on X. I like getting all the feedback because I can't see you all during these, during these live streams. But if you're on Rumble or Locals or YouTube, you can do the comments. They will show up, and I'll be able to see them. So thank you for being here with me today. If you found this useful or interesting, feel free to share it with others. You also might want to check out my website at jasonandrews.coach, where you can discover more ways, more paths to improving your career, your relationships, and your emotional states on a consistent basis. Thanks, everyone.